Hello and welcome to the Boom Fact Check, where we discuss what made the news this week and whether it was real or not. I'm Suyash Barve, and with me is the always alliterative Jency Jacob from Boom. Alright, let's jump right in. There's been yet another copy-paste controversy on Twitter this week. This time around, there are a lot of people who have the exact same feelings about demonetization. And Jency, I didn't think this was possible, but I knew people could agree on the same thing, but I didn't think it was down to the apostrophes and the full stops and the exclamation marks.
Yeah,
What's going on?
This is so interesting. This is not fake news. This is what I would call manufactured tweets. Right. So we see that yesterday when RBI came out with the report, or day before yesterday, it did say that 99% of the demonetized currency has come back into the banking system. Now this was something that we all knew, but we were all waiting for the RBI official report to come out. Right. A lot of people went to Twitter, columnists have written pieces on the fact that demonetization was not required to be done, and the kind of trouble that we have undergone. So the tweets that we just saw before this had Suresh Prabhu and had Om Birla, who's also a BJP MP. We also had Gehlot, who's a minister. All of them tweeting the exact same tweet saying demonetization attained its objective of making India a less cash economy, reducing black money flow into the system, hashtag demonetization success. Now in itself there's nothing wrong, because the BJP ministers have a job to do. They need to actually back the policies that their government takes. So this was fine. All of them decided to do it together, showing that there was a coordinated effort. But look at this. The string of tweets, the last we counted, we had about 50 yesterday, last night. I'm sure that probably it would have crossed 100 now. All of them coming out with the same text with the hashtag, which shows that there was a clear plan in place. These are not bots, these are all original handles, but we don't know who are these people who are doing it. Are they party workers? Are they genuine supporters who are doing it? Because all of them cannot do copy, these are all copy paste, these are not retweets. Yeah. So it clearly shows that there was an effort to make that trend a success.
Yeah, because really the game isn't here, the game's over here with the hashtag.
Yes,
right?
so
it's about getting it to trend.
Yes, so which is why we call it a manufactured trend. There was no problem if people were tweeting their thoughts along with that hashtag, but the exact same text, at least get your put out your thoughts on your own, and that would look so better.
Yeah, there does seem to be a lack of originality in this entire streak. So moral of the story, trending topics may not always tell you the truth. Right. Alright, moving on. Crowds at political rallies, big or small, have become a point of global contention. A few months ago, we saw American President Donald Trump debate at length the crowds at his inauguration. And now Lalu Prasad Yadav appears to be playing this numbers game as well. Jency, tell us, what has Lalu done this time?
So, this is a rally, this is a political rally that he was part of.
Yeah, this seems like an obscenely large crowd.
Really large crowd.
This looks over the top.
In fact, okay, I'll come to that point later, but look at this ground. Here, there is a portion here which actually, if there was an ANI tweet which showed a lot of empty space on the top side, which is by the time when he put it out, he's saying no face will stand in front of Lalu's base, such a corny line. Come and count as much as you can in Gandhi Maidan, Patna, Desh Bachao is the hashtag. Now many people actually put out some of the other pictures that were taken some time back, when the rally ground was getting filled, and said that this is not an original picture. This is a photoshopped image. In fact, SM Oakslayer, who's also into debunking of fake news, he had zoomed into the portion here, and he had said that there was a greenery, there were some greener trees here. Now, even if from the top angle, if there are a lot of people, you will still see the trees there. But in this picture, it is not visible, thereby showing that they had photoshopped the image before putting it out. In fact, he didn't need to do this. Many people pointed out that the rally was a big success. It had a huge crowd. Why did they need to fill? And look at here.
We can see the trees right here.
You can see all the trees here, which in Lalu's image, it is not to be seen.
Right. All right. And also a very color coordinated crowd if you just look at it.
Yes, very color coordinated.
It seems very, very stylish. Yeah. All right. Let's move on from crowds to chaos. Mumbai suffered some of the worst flooding it's experienced in years. But some accounts of the damage may have been grossly exaggerated. Tell us more, Jency.
So this is an image which is not fake. This has actually happened, but this happened in 2012, where there was a 90-foot wide slab during the construction of the Mumbai metro.
Yes.
There was a collapse. One laborer died and 16 people were seriously injured. These images were carried by several people, by several newspapers in 2012. 5 years later, after the deluge that we saw, these images again started doing the rounds. This time not on Twitter or Facebook, but on WhatsApp. And they said, that there is a collapse that has happened again. But very clearly, when we looked at all the news sources, we went back to the Mumbai police Twitter handle as well, and we did not see any such news. The images were the same exact images which were doing the rounds in 2012.
Right, so this is actually a 5-year-old image and no basis in reality.
Yes.
And you'd think with all the damage we suffered anyways, there would be no need for hyperbole and exaggeration. But clearly, some still feel the need to send this stuff out on WhatsApp.
Right.
And WhatsApp, by the way, is where my mother gets 90% of her fake news. Right. All right, now, get out your love chargers because we're going to talk about self-styled godman Ram Rahim Singh Insan. More specifically, we're going to talk about a particular helicopter he stepped on board this week. Now, Jency, I am not a self-styled godman. I have never been on a helicopter, nor do I understand the finer points of helicopter aviation. What is this controversy all about?
Suyash, neither am I, but this is probably from one of the rallies he was attending in 2014, and this is an image which was clicked last week. Now, AW139, this is the helicopter in question. This, as we know, is Augusta Westland 139 is the company,
right?
And this is the model number 139. Here also you can see, though it is a bit behind the image, we can see that it is 139 as well. Now, many people linked Modi, the Dera chief, and Gautam Adani, because Gautam Adani, they said, owns the helicopter, and 5-star treatment being given. Here you can see Harpreet Insan, that's his adopted daughter. There were a lot of controversy over this issue as well. Why was the adopted daughter traveling with a convicted rapist who's been taken to a jail?
Right. Now,
it was quite convenient, if I can show this previous image, quite convenient for people to, and also one of the Congress leaders to tweet this, saying that there is a link between Modi, the Dera chief, and Gautam Adani, and for his luxury, this helicopter was given out.
Right.
But as we found out, when we spoke to Adani, they on record said that they do not own a chopper in India. In fact, they have 3 aircrafts. We went to the DGCA site as well, looked at a list where all the helicopters in the country were given. Adani's name does not figure in that. So very clearly, this image was put together to make a point, and the Congress tried to pass this off as something which actually happened with the Adani's chopper being involved, but Adani's are nowhere involved in this.
So essentially, neither of these images is true in the context that they've been presented. They may be real images,
yes,
but in the context they've been presented, they're both completely.
So let's say that the Haryana government decided to ferry him in a chopper because they wanted to avoid the kind of riotous situation that was already prevailing. They actually leased out a chopper. We know that we have heard and read at different places that it probably could have been a DLF chopper, but that's a leased chopper. There's nothing wrong in that. But clearly, the Adanis were not involved in this.
And AW139 is not a tail number, as the technical term might be. It's simply a model number of a helicopter. Yeah. So there could be several. All right, that's our show. Thank you, Jency, for joining us today, and thank you for joining us. We will see you next week on the Boom Fact Check. Bye-bye.